Hello everybody, my name is Dusty and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how I wound up with 4 goldfish and why they are one of my favorite types of fish to keep. So I kind of talk about how I got my goldfish in previous videos, but there's a whole lot of new people here, so I thought I would talk about it again. Now I have 4 goldfish and I love them all. They are all absolutely amazing. They fuel my ambition to be in this hobby every time I look at them. They give me new challenges and new adventures all the time, and they quickly turned into one of my favorite kinds of fish to keep. When I was younger, my friend had a 10-gallon tank with 2 large comet goldfish in it, and one day we bought another goldfish, or we won one at a local fair, and threw it in there, and overnight it was gone. The other 2 goldfish had eaten the little one, and that just sparked my interest in goldfish. I don't know why, but seeing those 2 gigantic goldfish in a 10-gallon tank just absolutely blew my mind. Until that point, I had thought of goldfish as these little things that you just buy at the local pet shop for 20 cents a piece, and you just feed them to, I don't know, I fed mine to a crocodile once. So that's what I thought goldfish were for a long time. I never knew about the size requirements or the things they needed to survive and thrive. And even now, when I tell people goldfish are one of my favorite kinds of fish, they don't believe me because the fact they are so incredibly simple sometimes. But there's one thing that stands out with goldfish that no other fish has, and that's amazing personality. Every time I walk into the room, one of my goldfish or all 4 of them look at me, swim up to the glass, and want me to play with them with my finger. And it just blows my friends' minds all the time that they act just like dogs. But when you try to start to talk to people about goldfish and you tell them, hey, you know, that goldfish actually requires a 20-gallon tank or a 40-gallon tank, or instead of a 10-gallon increase in requirements, it's a 20-gallon increase in requirements. When you tell them about the ammonia levels and ammonia burn, and then how much you feed them, and how much filtration you need, and air, oxygen in the water, and all these other things, it sometimes blows their mind. Something I notice a lot of goldfish keepers don't know is that goldfish are social creatures. They like to be with other goldfish, and I've learned this very quickly. I got my first goldfish from a local fish store, and I didn't pay anything for it. It had severe ammonia burn. It was lethargic. It was thin. They thought it was going to die, so when I showed interest, they just kind of threw it in a bag and gave it to me and said, good luck. I took that goldfish home, put it in a 10-gallon tank, started treating it, and lo and behold, I still have it today. His name is Harvey, and although I love him and I adore him and I care for him all the same as the other goldfish, he really wasn't the one that I wanted. He was just the one that I got. At the end of the day, I think back and I'm glad I got him because he fueled my interest in that species, and he's the kind of the test dummy for everything that I learned about goldfish, and I felt really bad for some of the things I've done to him over the years, but he was a learning experience. Now, I just said over the years, and I think back, it feels like a long time, but it really hasn't been that long. It's not even a year yet since I had him, and the other goldfish just kind of came along in my life quite randomly and sporadically. So I noticed one day that Harvey was feeling down, and he wasn't swimming around as much as he used to. It was only him in the tank and some Amano shrimp, and I felt bad. He was by himself. Now, at this point, I still didn't know a lot about him, so he was in a 10-gallon tank, filter heater, everything else, and seeing him in that kind of like depressive state put a lot of questions in my mind. So I started doing a little research, and I found out they are communal animals, and they need other goldfish in order to be happy. So I went out to find him a friend. Now, at that point, I still hadn't read the tank requirements, so I still wasn't aware about them, but I went out and I bought another goldfish anyway. This goldfish I named Steve Harvey. It was right around when the Miss America or Miss Universe pageant thing happened, and it made me laugh and gave me joy, and it was kind of punny too. So yeah. So I got Steve and I put him in the tank, and Steve was another rescue from a local fish store. Somebody had brought him in. They really didn't know how to sell him, so they gave him to me for half the price as the other ones, and he is honestly my favorite goldfish. I know a father's not supposed to have favorites, but he's my favorite. Steve is so funny, quirky, and I don't know, something about him just, whenever I see him, it just makes me happy. So whenever I go to the tank, he's always the first one to the front. He's just a pig, so he eats all the food. He's the only one when I go over the top of the tank, he doesn't swim away. He swims towards me, and I really appreciate that. So I got Steve at half price, put him in with Harvey, and they became instant best friends. I go to university, and at the university, the largest tank you can have is a 20-gallon tank. So I put them both in a 20-gallon tank, and while that's not terrible, it's not exactly the best, and I understand that, but they are both still really small. If I were to put them in my hand, they'd probably reach about that big, which compared to my head is nothing. But I don't really have anything else to compare it with, so I'm going to compare it with my head. And my head's really big, so these goldfish are not that big. They're about a quarter of the size they should be in like 2 years, so there's some room to grow. And from my experience, goldfish generally grow kind of slow. If they're a comic goldfish grow incredibly quick. I know friends who got one during the summer at a fair, and by the next year's fair, it was about 5-6 inches long. I've had Steve and Harvey now for 8 months-ish, and they really haven't grown that much. They've gotten wider, stronger, they swim faster. But in terms of growth, they're really not that big. So they're being housed in a 20-gallon tank. And that's where Pennywise comes in. Pennywise I got while I was running this channel. There's a whole video on Pennywise, and, you know, he is interesting. He is actually Pennywise 2. The first Pennywise had a little bit of an incident when it came to he was sick, and I accidentally mixed the wrong meds together, and then I wound up with a dead Pennywise. So I got a new Pennywise, and the new Pennywise is fantastic. He's beautiful, he's everything, but I mean, he's not my favorite. And so right now I'm trying to clear out my 20-gallon community tank to put 2 of the goldfish together in that tank, and then the 2 will be in the other tank, and everyone will live happily ever after. But if you just heard what I said that I have 2 goldfish going in one tank and 2 goldfish going in another. And that's because I actually have 4 goldfish. Something that I always wanted since I saw it was a pearl scale goldfish. This goldfish is absolutely stunning. I saw it at a local fish store, and I just knew I had to have it, and that became my dream fish. I really don't have room for it. But after months, literally months of searching, I came across a batch of them at my local fish store, and I could not say no. It was one of those things where when you see it, you get so excited that you don't actually think about it. You say, I want that. They put it in a bag. You get back, and you're like, oh, crap. You know, I already overstocked this tank. I really didn't think about where I was going to put it, but I guess it can go in there with the other 3 for right now. Compared to all the other goldfish, Mr. Peabody, the pearl scale goldfish, is about a 1/4 of the size. He is absolutely small. Small. Compared to my head, small. They all get along well, but you can tell that there's certain pairs that get along better than others. So Mr. Peabody and Pennywise get together really well, and then Steve and Harvey get together really well, and that's how I'm going to split them off into tanks. So I have 4 goldfish: Steve, Harvey, Pennywise, and Mr. Peabody. And I love them all equally. They are all my children, but some of them, I mean, appeal to me a little bit more. And while I say they might appeal to me a little more, that doesn't mean I love the other ones more or anything. It's just the personalities, and you can tell there's a complete difference in personalities. Steve comes up to me more, and Mr. Peabody swims away. That might just be because of size and the amount of time I've had them. There's a lot of things that go into play, and you know, I don't blame Harvey for swimming away from me because he came from an awful situation. And while I did help him come back from that, I don't blame him for being skittish at all. The same with Pennywise. Pennywise came from Walmart, so I don't blame them for swimming away from me or being scared. It's just what happened. And I'm hoping that when I graduate, they can go into a 300-gallon pond or a 120-gallon tank, and I can get a couple more that they can all share the tank with and be happy and live their lives to the fullest. So that's pretty much the story on how I got my 4 goldfish. I'm still working on the invasive species series. The new video should be coming out next, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's why we shouldn't flush our fish down the toilet. The live stream is on Monday night, so I'm really excited about that. Make sure you check that out. I'll be there. Duh, it's my live stream. But it's going to be my first ever actual live stream of me in front of the camera. I'm really excited about it. I hope a lot of people come. It's just going to be a chill night. I think it's at 10 o'clock Central Time, I think. Anyway, it's scheduled. You can find it on my channel. I'm going to be putting the link to the video and the link in the description below. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you come, stop by, say hi, leave it a like. And for this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you liked it, leave a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.